Hello, welcome to Broncos TV. My name is Tom Latcham. This is Mike Eccles. He's the interim head coach of the London Broncos. And we finally reached the end of the season. It's been a strange season, but the final game of the season is on Sunday. It's against Barrow Raiders at home in the Betfred Championship. It's a Sunday 3 o'clock kickoff. You can get your updates as ever with me and the team on social media. And afterwards, we'll be hosting our first ever One Club Social, where the team and or the men's team, the women's team, and the backroom staff and the fans are going to come together and celebrate and discuss, I suppose, enjoy and the positives and negatives of what's been a really rather odd season, I think you could say. But let's digest some of that with Mike Eccles, who's going to look ahead to that Barrow game. How you doing, Mike?
Yeah, good, mate. Good.
Thanks for joining us. So let's, of course, start with Barrow. It's the end of the season. They're in the playoffs. They're a decent side. They've only really lost recently to the top two, who've been beating everybody, frankly. So therefore, you must be expecting a pretty tough test to the end of the season.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're it's a funny one because they got promoted last year from League One. So when they started doing really well at the start of the year, it was almost dubbed a false position. But if you're in that position with one game to go, it's certainly not false. The league table doesn't lie. So, yeah, it's funny actually, Tom, because they've played a lot of teams that I've been previewing in recent weeks. So I've seen quite a lot of them. And it was probably about 5 weeks ago now, I saw them play a couple of games. And I thought, wow, they are a very, very good team.
So what's your analysis saying in terms of where you need to be at your best?
Well, what they do is I've said this a couple of times, but they are the most expansive team that we will play this year. So what they do is they tend to land quite wide and they put all their halves onto one side of the field and they will attack to the big open space. As simple as that. And they're very, very effective at doing it. They've got two good halves, Johnston, and we all know Jared Sammett's box tricks, and a good fullback in Cresswell. And they've got a star player, or a star edge, really, with Maludi and Ritson. So, long story short, mate, they attack to space, keep it quite simple, but very difficult with the individuals they've got. And they try and get the ball over to Maludi and Ritson, who've got some sheer power and speed and quality, really. So, yeah, good team.
Well, we can be pretty expansive on occasion, and I know that's something that you've worked upon. But of course, at times, you know that you can't do that, and so that you play a bit tighter, without giving too much away about your tactics this weekend. Is this going to be an expansive game of rugby between two expansive teams, or are we going to see maybe the Broncos trying to play a little bit tighter to negate that?
Yeah, the last two games, just not give ourselves a chance in the game, really, with kind of poor completion rate, poor outcomes. So we've not what you call earned the right to play expansive and play wide. You must build a foundation, build your way into the game, tire the opposition out by completing high, and when you turn the ball over, making sure that you're turning it over in the right areas of the field. And we just not done any of that the last two games. So we've kind of fallen away from the basics. So to be honest with you, Tom, we want to do a bit of both. We want to get into the game. We want to earn the right to play the way we want to play, which is it's playing quite expansive and an attractive style of rugby. But early on in the game, mate, it's going to be the absolute basics of rugby league, the running hard, completing high and getting the ball into the right areas of the field when we turn it over if we don't score.
Well, it makes sense, given coming off the back of that heavy defeat to Lee. You were pretty cross about that, really, and you did apologise, of course, to the fans afterwards. This, perhaps then, are you viewing it as a way of putting that right and ending the season on a high?
Yeah, I think so. And just to put it on record, the lads have been amazing. I can't speak highly enough of them, but I still expect us to compete with anybody we play, and we just didn't put our best foot forward on a weekend. So, yeah, hopefully, I think we deserve to finish well, mate. There's certainly not been a conscious downing of tools of the players at all. Even though we know it was job done, realistically a month ago, we still, the requirement is to still go out there and keep performing to the best of our ability for the players themselves, the club, and for the fans. So I think it's really important, mate, the weekend. Win, lose or draw, it's about the performance, that we end the season properly. and we put to bed the last 2 weeks.
Well, the last meeting between us was at their place. It was under Jermaine Coleman, and it was a draw, which was a rare positive during what was a difficult period for the club. How much heart can you take from that, knowing that you do have it in you to take the game to them? And I mean, it was a draw, but away. On another day, that's a win.
Yeah, I mean, we should have won the game that day, but I think Barrow were poor that day, and they'll tell you that they completed really low, and that's as poor as it's been. So it's not a true reflection, and I warned the players of that last night that Barrow that we play, do not expect that team. That they've been off the pace probably 2 or 3 times this year. Barrow in all the games we played, and that was one of them. They weren't great. That's not a reflection of what's coming tomorrow at all. And the intensity that they played with, and the style of rugby that they played. So expecting a completely different Barrow than the one we played. What would have been 4 months ago now, probably. Possibly more than that. So,
do you think that the Cherry Red Records Stadium and what is obviously a really nice pitch is going to suit them with their expansive play?
Well, it should suit anybody. The pitch is unbelievable. The stadium is unbelievable. Like, everybody turns up and says, "Wow, this is amazing." We're so lucky to play there. But yeah, I mean, we're not overthinking them, Tom. Everybody should come to Wimbledon and be able to play a good brand of rugby because the facility is so good. We just got to make sure that we're focusing on us and we're kind of beating them to the punch, really, mate.
And how have your preparations gone this week? What's been going on in training?
Very much the same, mate. Nothing really changes, and that's one thing that the lads are still learning. And we're never too high when we win, we're never too low when we lose. We're always prepared the same. Whether we're playing the bottom of the league, top of the league, whoever it is, which we haven't done the last 2 weeks. The lads have gone into the game with a slightly different atmosphere around the place. Whether that's a subconscious feeling of the season's coming to an end, I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. But it's something that we're really trying to ingrain, that the intensity of training should remain the same all the time. The focus should remain the same all the time. Not too high, not too low. Keep progressing. We've had a pretty good week this week, but we generally always in the week we generally always prepare well. I think I've been disappointed with our energy levels in the last 2 games on the day, but that happens as well. But no, in terms of training, mate, it's been very focused on trying to end the season positively.
And do we have any team news?
Well, there's no Wellington Albert. Unfortunately, there was. Yeah, I mean, I've stayed quiet on the matter, but we challenged. A bit like what Leeds did with Reece Martin in the week, seems to be a bit of a theme, and we was deemed frivolous in our approach, and that got extended by another game, which was shocked me to the bone, to be totally honest with you. But we'll move on from that. There's absolutely nothing we can do, apparently, around that one. So Wellington Albert won't be back. Ronnie Palumbo will be back. He will play. He will be in the 17. And then other than that, it's pretty much the same as it was. So Will Lover will be out with his head knock. That's mandatory. He's okay, though. He's fine. But he's still going through the procedure to return to play and train. And Ronnie Palumbo will replace Will Lover.
Okay. And news yesterday, or broke later on in this week, about Brad Foster going to the Bradford Bulls. They've signed him for next season on a 1-year contract. Shame to lose him. Wish him the best.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's a lot of people don't know that Brad's put in a hell of a sacrifice this year to play for the club. He still lives in the north of England, and there's been a lot of commutes and trains, planes, automobiles. So. Listen, Brad's been terrific for us this year. His efforts, he's never wavered at all. And I'm just really glad that he's got himself fixed up, closer to home. And yes, Bradford are a rival of ours, but at the same time, people first. And I'm delighted for him that he's been able to get himself a deal sorted. What I believe is literally 20 minutes away from where he lives. So, his life for him and his home life, he's got a family and a business, but much easier for him. So thanks, Brad, and we wish you all the best, mate.
Great stuff. And some of the players, I understand, and hopefully yourself, will be at the first ever One Club Social, which is after the game at the Cherry Red Records Stadium, with fans and players and coming together to celebrate some highs, and you guys getting safe after a rocky time, and also the women getting to the grand final, and such a fantastic season for them. We'll all be coming together with the fans What can we expect from that?
Well, I think for me, something that we can make a foundation to move forward with. It's something I really want to sort out and make an annual event, Tom. So work closely with Matt Kemp, a new commercial manager, and Jason about putting an event in at the back end of every season where we can all share the awards together with the fans. And for me, it just makes sense. You can do it at a game day as well. So the kind of the last home game of the season makes sense, really. Obviously, if it was in the playoffs, then it would be a little bit more up in the air in terms of when our last game would be. But this season, we all know this is our last home game, our last game of the season as it is. And I think it's a great opportunity to bring everybody together, the academy, the women, the fans. So, yeah, I think it's a fantastic event by the club. And, yeah, I just hope we can get as many people stay on after the game to share that with us. So they'll be going through the awards. So we're going through the Players' Player of the Year. We'll be going through the Coaches' Player of the Year. We'll be going through the Most Improved. And yeah, there'll be some stats up on the screens by our analysts, which give people an insight into the season in terms of who's carried the ball the most, who's tackled the most, who's done all the smaller things well in terms of, again, quick play the ball. It's really interesting stats, actually, really well presented. That will be up on kind of a circular as the evening goes on. And Sam, our analyst, is going to end the evening with a bit of a montage video of the season for all three teams. So, yeah, I think it's a really nice way to bring us all together. And we're getting quite excited, really. It's another new thing that we're doing, and feedback would be very welcome after the event from the fans. But hopefully we can, start something new for me.
Great stuff. And also, of course, the UK's Premier Will Lovell lookalike, Jake Watson, is also going to be there. So if you want to come down and see a turn by Jake Watson and pretend you've met Will Lovell, I mean, Will might be there too. We'll get them together and it'll be like this weird thing going on. Anyway, listen, Barrow Raiders at home. It's in the Betfred Championship Sunday, 3 o'clock kickoff. You can get your updates as ever with me and my team on social media, and I will be as well at that One Club Social. So if you want to come and say hi, or you want to say, well, this could be better or that could be better, you know what to do. Come down and say. You can say it to all of us. It doesn't have to be me. They're all going to be there, and your advice and your help and your thoughts and your views on what's been a funny season, like successful in many ways, but strange start ended positively. I think we can say. Come on down. That's the One Club Social, which is after the game. Thank you very much, Mike, for your time, and congratulations on getting safe and coming in and making such an impact this season. And thank you as well, if I can say as well, and this is a bit self-indulgent, but for being so honest and fair with us throughout all of your analysis when we've done these interviews throughout the game. It's been a joy, really, real pleasure.
Yeah, and likewise, Tom. Thanks to yourself and Jake and the rest of the team. I think we've almost coincided really with since I took over, and you guys in terms of the social media, what you've done and delivered is in my eyes pioneering to the game. Really, I think you've been absolutely outstanding, and give the fans a real insight into what's going on in terms of the feedback from myself and the players, and most importantly, I think those away games you've almost kept the fans in touch with the game day experience with the snippets which go out. So not been a great season, but the last kind of 16 weeks, I think, on the field and off the field, we've really represented the club the right way, in my opinion.
It's been our pleasure. Thank you very much, Mike. Next season.
Thanks. Cheers, Tom.